Hi, welcome to the Old Farts Fix a Corner. You guessed it, I'm the old fart. The Fix a Corner, what it's all about is using some of the things that I learned, the tricks that I learned, and the experience that I got through 20 plus years in the construction business to help you fix some things at home. What you see me holding in my hand here is a piece of 1/2-inch rebar. This next step that we're going to do, a lot of people might say is overkill, but my dad always taught me that it's better safe than sorry. So what we're going to do with this rebar is I'm going to use some baling wire, which is just this small thin wire like this that they use for tying rebar. I'm going to use it to tie the rebar to the tops of each one of those lag bolts that we installed. And this will just be something for the concrete to be around and give it a good sturdy stiff anchor, I guess, to hold on to. And also this will help hold the concrete together, keep it from cracking and falling and splitting and pulling out. So all I really want to do is attach this to the top of those bolts so that it'll be up off the ground and that concrete will be under it and over it and all around it, and that will help keep that concrete good and stiff. What I'll do is I'll take this bale wire, and I'm going to take this bale wire and I'm going to wrap it around the top of the bolts that are down there, those lag bolts, and then I'll hold the rebar on top of the bolt with one hand and pull the wire up around it and then twist it to keep the rebar in place. So that's what we're going to do next. So as I was saying, what I've done here is, you can see I've wrapped the wire around the top of the bolt and I have it ready for the rebar. Now I've done it to both of my bolts, as you can see, so that I can just set the rebar on there and twist it on each one, and it's taken care of. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and start putting it on now. All right, you can see I'm holding the rebar on there, and I just pull the wire up over top of it and I twist it and wrap it around, and there we go. Good solid hold. And now I do the same thing to the other side, and then I'm going to go around and do the rest of them. So I'll show you what happens when it's all finished. All right, now it's time to mix our concrete. Probably the easiest way to do this is in a wheelbarrow using a hoe. This is just your typical garden hoe. There's nothing special about it, and we're going to use just regular concrete mix. It's just a regular 80-pound bag of concrete mix. So first we're going to start by opening this bag of concrete mix. And I just use the hoe to rip it. Flip it over and dump it in there. And as you can see, it's got a little windy here today. I'm going to make a little hole in the center of it with the hoe, and then I'll take the bucket of water here, and I'm going to dump about a gallon of water in it. There's really no exact mix, but I'll dump a gallon of water in there like that, and then I'll start at one side, and taking little bites, I'm going to hoe the concrete mix into the water, like so. Then I'll come around over to the other side, and we'll just do the same thing. We're taking off little bites and pulling it in here, trying to get her all mixed up. And there's really no exact mix on this. You just kind of have to fill your way through it, add a little bit more water as needed. What we want for this particular case is we want it to be liquid enough that we can work it in, get it around our rebar and back into the holes and so forth, but yet stiff enough that it's not just running out. I mean, we do have. All right, now it's time to fill in our gaps, and we're going to take this concrete that we just mixed up, and as you can see, this is about the thickness of it. You can see it's liquid, but yet it's staying on top of my trowel. And that's really the easiest way to get it out of the wheelbarrow, is just to take the triangle trowel, concrete, the cement trowel, and just grab a scoop of it like that. Now we're going to take it over here and we're going to start working it in. Okay, and as you can see, I'm taking it and I'm putting it over top of the rebar and I'm pushing it back into the gaps that we have. I want to get it all the way back in there. And I'm pushing it all the way to the back first, and I'll work my way out to the surface. See the way it keeps falling back out of there, that's why we have a form. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the form, and I always like to wet my forms with a little bit of water before I use them, because it helps to keep the cement from forming into it. And also, if you're pouring one, it helps to keep the surface of the concrete smooth. So we're going to put this in here. I'm going to use the hammer to try and get it to push in on the bottom a little bit. I'm going to try to sneak a little bit more concrete in here on top. Now it don't matter if we have this perfectly smooth, because as you remember, we're going to put a surface over the whole thing. So I put that in there. Just going to use the hammer to try and tap this in flush. Now I'm going to put the cement block up against here to keep it in place. All right, so we got that there done, and now we're just going to work our way around the front. We're going to do the same thing in the front, and we'll get back at you after that. All right, well, as you can see, we've completed it all. We have the forms up here. Again, I'm using these concrete block and so forth to hold the form in place. There's not a lot of pressure behind there that we have to worry about. Typically, you wouldn't be setting something up like this on a cement slab. You'd be setting it up on the dirt where you could pound stakes in to hold the forms in place. But in this case, this will work for us. Now's the time when we get to take a break, because this concrete needs to set up overnight, somewhere between 16-24 hours before we can move on to our next part. So we're going to take a break, and we'll meet you back here tomorrow.